Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here,
Drake
man.
thinks.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah, good morning and welcome back. That's right. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, right here on 12 Ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Yep, all that is true. Yeah, I gotta say so. And the man on the other microphone, he's a great American and a great patriot.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is your boy, Chris America, coming to you live this Thursday, June the 6th, 2019.
I think you're pretty good. I think that
Nailed
was
it.
Nailed it. There you go.
Nailed it. Hey, Loudbeard,
Hey there, Chris America. How are you doing?
you know what I like doing? I like relating to football players.
Oh yeah, you're related. Like
No. Like I
Second
can relate to
brothers?
them. Yeah. I wish.
if there was a, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go with this. Let's hear what you're talking about. How do you relate to football players?
Well, I mean, I'm going through a divorce. I'm sure you've been through a breakup a time or two, and you can relate to that, right?
Yeah, I think everybody in the world can, unless you're 12.
Well, so can Le'Veon Bell. And just like Le'Veon Bell, I'm sure you can relate to some girl in your life just totally breaking your heart and stealing $500,000 worth of jewelry.
Yeah. I've had that happen before. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
When you're big
Terrible.
wigs like us, that happens from time to time. But, that's why you have jewelry insurance.
I hope he had jewelry insurance. Did he?
I don't know. I didn't read that far in the story. I just read the headline. That's all I know about the
Okay.
story.
So, are you feeling a little relatable because you have insurance on all of your 500,000 plus jewelry that you own? Is that
Yes.
why you feel relatable?
I have $500,000 worth of jewelry, and I have insurance on it. I also have insurance on my Gensu knife set. Those things are expensive.
Yes, and they last forever. They're amazing.
Yeah. So I don't have it on them like not lasting and just somebody coming and stealing them. Especially ninjas. Ninjas are always known to come in and steal your Gensu knife set.
Okay. That's kind of cool, I guess. The ninjas are everywhere. So the type of jewelry that he had, because you're thinking, at least I thought when I saw this article, is like, what do you own that's $500,000? Now, I guess if you're a football player, like it's important to have bling, but it sounds like what he's got missing are 2 gold chains with diamonds, a Black Panther pendant with black and white diamonds, and a Rolex. Those few pieces of jewelry equal over $500,000, man. And these girls who he named as his girlfriends didn't really say how close of girlfriends they were, but his girlfriends, so apparently he has multiple girlfriends, staying at his house. He goes to the gym. He said, I'm going to get my workout. It's off season. I got to stay in shape.
Still relatable.
Still relatable. He comes home. His closet is in total disarray, and his jewelry is missing, and his girlfriends are missing, according to the police report.
See, I didn't read all of that. I just read the headline. I thought it was just a girlfriend. Maybe I missed the S at the end. So
Oh, yeah.
now,
Nope. 2 women described as Le'Veon Bell's girlfriends disappeared from his home in Florida. So I do want to give some advice to all the men out
so
there.
they
that-
were Florida women?
Yes, you
Yes,
do not mess
Florida
with a
women.
Florida woman.
Strike
you do not
again.
mess with Florida woman.
Do you think it was the same Florida women who tried to steal the money when they didn't get free fries and just beat up everybody in sight?
If he's bringing home those Florida women, dude, he can do better. Come on, Le'Veon Bell. You see that picture? Those the ones from the
I did.
little Burger King, or
But
wherever
maybe they
were
went
at?
up to him and said, hey, do you want to live life on the wild side? And he's like, I do.
Man, I don't know, man. You know, he's wearing that Black Panther pendant, and all of a sudden they were like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, ay, papi."
They're like, hey,
And they-
we're some Cougars. We'd like some Black Panther.
Yeah, that's right. It's like when he must have sprayed on some Sex Panther before he went out to pick up on these girlfriends, and it just got him going, man. He knows how to really finesse his way into getting some really high quality chicks. And then, of course, when you bring them home, sometimes when you wake up in the morning, things just don't work out as well as you thought they would.
Yeah. Hate it when that happens, man. Well, that's what happens when you pick up a Florida Panther instead of a bona fide Cougar. You got to go out of the state of Florida if you're going to pick up women.
Okay. Is this so? You're going through a separation, and is this kind of like the advice you're giving to yourself? Also, like right now, you and Le'Veon Bell are sitting there in the same shoes, and you're thinking, man, maybe I should go outside of Florida to find women because the Florida woman, she does it to you every time.
Yeah, and they turn into Florida women after a while because my ex is from Michigan. So maybe that was my problem.
Yeah, but she was living in Florida. She counts.
Yeah, well, she's been here for a while, so she turned into Florida woman, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of
All right, enough of that.
So, what about that? Did you watch this Raptors game last night, man? Oh,
I did. Oh,
It was a beaut.
They, you know what? That's kind of what I suspected to happen. That if Toronto could play at their best, they should be able to handle this Golden State Warriors team if Klay Thompson wasn't going to play. Because when Klay Thompson went out, don't forget there was that 3-minute drought where Golden State didn't score any points. It's just Toronto didn't take advantage of it. So I think they, circled the wagons and said, okay, we saw Golden State's a very vulnerable and a very beatable team without Klay and without KD. We got to jump on them this time. We missed our opportunity in Game 2. This series could very easily and surprisingly be 3-0. But instead, Toronto didn't jump on them. Kawhi disappeared in the fourth quarter. So now they only have a 2-1 lead. Toronto's got to put the pedal to the metal here if Klay Thompson misses Game 4.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And, I was looking at this game last night, and I'm kind of looking at the series, and I would have to say that it was really one bad quarter. This series is away from being 3-0. Just one bad quarter. That 18-0 start in the third quarter of Game 2, if you don't have that one terrible, awful, disgusting quarter if you're a Toronto Raptors player or fan, right now you're sitting in the driver's seat at 3-0. And they've got to look at that. That's tough. That's really tough to look at. But they took care of business last night. And Golden State was shorthanded. We can make excuses for Golden State. We can say Klay's out. We can say KD's out. We can even say a role player like Kevon Looney is out. All of that is true, but you know what? We don't make excuses for other teams. I thought about this. We didn't make excuses for the Cavs when Kyrie Irving was hurt and Kevin Love had a separated shoulder way back when. And we can't make excuses for this Golden State team. Now, Steph Curry did everything he possibly could in this game. He played outstanding, played a ton of minutes. I think he had 43, 44 minutes, something crazy like that. He also 47 points. I mean, just a very heroic type performance, but there's not a lot of other scorers when you take Klay and KD off of this team because now you got Draymond, I think he ends up with 17 points. He did his share, but other than that, you really aren't finding any sort of real depth on this team. Iguodala is not the same player he was 5-10 years ago. He comes in and he can get you maybe 7-8 points. He's not going to get you what you need, and they need another big-time scorer, and Golden State struggled on that end of the ball. Yeah, they have DeMarcus Cousins, but he kind of looked like he was flat last night. He looked like he was slow. He looked like he didn't have that same – he wasn't in the shape, or maybe he wasn't as healthy as he was early in the season. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. I don't know. Golden State just doesn't have the firepower. Now, after the game, Steve Kerr says that he believes Klay Thompson will be ready to go for Game 4. So we may see a completely different Golden State come Game 4, but the Toronto Raptors did exactly what they needed to do, and that was take care of business Game 3 with KD and Klay out.
Yeah, this was kind of the scenario that needed to happen for the Warriors to finally lose like this. Because when you look at their stat sheet, I don't know, Game 3 in the first round, you're looking at names like Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and then you're getting to Draymond Green, and then the rest of the guys, they look good because those 4 guys are sucking in all of the defense. Now you just see, you look down their stat sheet, and it's guys like DeMarcus Cousins, who isn't the same. He's just not. I don't think he'll ever be the same. He had a chance this year to come in and prove that he is back and he's better than ever, and he just hasn't. He got injured again. He's come back from that injury, and he's been so pedestrian coming back. Then you look at other top scorers for this team. Quinn Cook. Who is that guy? That's the next top scorer outside of the typical names of Andre Iguodala and Draymond Green. Your next top scorer, Andrew Bogut with 6 points. The next top scorer for the Warriors, Jonas Jerebko. Who the hell is that guy? You know what I mean? So we're going from Steph Curry, like you mentioned, 47 points, and then there's a huge drop-off to Draymond Green at 17 and Andre Iguodala at 11, and then I start listing off the other top scorers for the Warriors, and you couldn't pick any of those guys out. Maybe Andrew Bogut. Maybe you know what Andrew Bogut looks like, but the rest of the guys I mentioned, you've never heard these guys before in your life.
Yeah, the only reason you may know him is from watching this series and seeing these guys get some minutes here and there. But that doesn't mean anything. I really don't think it does. Now, I will say, on the flip side, number one, Toronto's still playing good defense. They are a very strong defensive team, so we can't take that away from them.
No, but it's a lot easier to play Quinn Cook on defense, who put in 27 minutes, and Andrew Bogut, who put in 22 minutes, than it is Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry.
Oh, I'm not going to argue with you on that. That's for sure. I do want to highlight, though, Toronto's offense. They were doing everything right last night. I felt like these guys, I mean, at one point I thought Danny Green couldn't miss. It was Danny Green a la San Antonio Spurs championship games back in 2014. This was the Danny Green that the Toronto Raptors needed and the one that they traded for. And that's awesome. Seeing guys, not just Kawhi. And honestly, I didn't think Kawhi had an amazing game by any means. Did you feel like after watching that game, like, oh, Kawhi dominated? I didn't think so.
This is what's weird about Kawhi Leonard. He's probably the one guy who quietly puts up 30 to 30-plus points a game in the finals. And like we said that with Game 2, he put up 34 points. And we both said, like, yeah, like you look at the stat sheet and it shows 34 points, and that's amazing. But when I watch the game, I don't know where those 34 points came from. And you're right about this game. Like 30 points, and he just quietly puts up 30 points. It's weird.
Yeah, he does.
I've never really watched an NBA player do that before. Like when you see Harden, LeBron James, Steph Curry put up 30-plus points, it's a noticeable thing. Like you see them take over, but somehow, some way, Kawhi is able to just, I guess it's just like his personality. He's kind of under the radar, quiet guy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Now, the Raptors, they have Kawhi, and he does his under the radar 30 points, but they had so many other contributors. Siakam had another quality game. Guys like Marc Gasol does exactly what he needs. He's putting in 17 points. Danny Green, 18 points. Kyle Lowry, 23 points. I mean, double figures from all their starters and guys that come in off the bench. Fred VanVleet he scores 11, and he gives you quality defense. And a guy like Serge Ibaka I think he had 6 blocks off the bench, and he came in and he was disruptive on defense. I mean, the Raptors look like a complete team, where the Warriors were just so one-man show, it was hard to watch. And this is, to me, the complete team wins every time when it's like that.
Look, man, the big difference was Patrick McCaw. He was on the Warriors last year. They don't have him. He put in 2 minutes, 1 assist. That's the big difference. I keep bringing him up.
Yeah, you kind of joke about it, but honestly, if he was on the Warriors, he'd probably be getting 20 to 25 minutes a game. When he's on the Raptors, he's getting like 5 minutes. The Raptors have so much more depth. Now, the Warriors have more of that top-end talent, right? When KD's playing and Klay and Steph, those guys are top-end talent. But that second tier, the Raptors are so much better. Guys like VanVleet, I can't mention him enough because he comes in and brings kind of that spark plug, that charge that team needs, being that secondary guard. a guy like Serge Ibaka, a guy you can trust out on the floor, maybe to get a couple key baskets, but really disrupt on the defensive end. He looked like he was his younger self back when he was in the finals, when he was playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, these are guys that you can count on, and the Raptors are getting performances all around, and a guy like Patrick McCaw isn't even getting that many minutes, but he'll go in there, and he'll do what he needs to do, getting 1 assist and 2 points in just a few minutes 2 minutes on the floor, 1 assist. I mean, it's almost a Chris America-like performance with Patrick McCaw out there. It was so beautiful.
Oh, Patrick McCaw, but Norman Powell is going to be my Chris America performance of the night for the Raptors. Norman Powell, 6 minutes, no stats.
Yeah, that's
some
very
good
Chris
exercise.
America-like.
That's some good exercise right there for Norman Powell. Hey, Norman, I know you missed your run today, so get on the floor for 6 minutes.
It's quality right there. That's what we need out of. Yep, and he's one of those guys that normally adds depth. He just kind of quiet game. Let's not put it too much. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't say a guy like Jeremy Lin, who had 1 minute and 0 stats, or Jody Meeks, 1 minute, 0 stats. Guys that were put in for the last 60 seconds of the game when it was basically already over. Now, those to me, those are Chris America-like performances.
Now, Loudbeard.
Yes, Chris America.
I thought about this last night as I'm watching KD and Curry talk before the
dangerous.
game in the tunnel. And what if the Raptors winning this series 4-1 because of these injuries? What if that keeps this Toronto Raptors team together, but it also keeps this Golden State Warriors team together, where they go to KD again and they say, look, just like 3 years ago, we need you to win the finals, and you need us to win championships. So why don't you go ahead and stay? And so they bring the band back together. They figure out the contracts. Everybody takes less, except for, obviously Steph Curry's contract's in lock. So maybe Steph Curry's like, hey, I'll throw you $5 million to each you and Clay to stay on this team. Do you think that happens?
I'm going to have to say I don't think that happens, but I can see where you're going with that. There is a definite case to be made where you could say, as a Golden State Warriors teammate, you could give him a call up and say, hey, man, give it one more year. Let's just do this one more time. Let's finish out in style. We can get one more championship. Let's give it one more year. And I think that could easily happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Because you kind of hate it when you go through a season on a team and then you're missing Clay, you're missing KD, and you sit there and you think, man, we could have won that series if we didn't have those injuries. And that kind of plays at your pride and your ego a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the same case could be made on the other side. You could, if you win another championship, you say, hey, why would you want to leave a team that's winning? Let's keep this going. Let's see how many we can get. Can we get more than MJ? Can we get more? What can we do?
How far
Let's
can
just
we
keep
extend
this going.
this dynasty?
Yes. So you can make points on both sides, but
that's true.
Deep down inside, I think KD's ready to just do something different. I think he checked his bucket list of winning an NBA championship, and now he's ready to move on to his next bucket list item. And I don't know what that is, if it's going to a team in LA or going to a team in New York or bringing a championship to a team that, he could be the number one player, because I do think it eats at him a little bit that it's really Steph Curry's team. It's always been Steph Curry's team. It'll always be Steph Curry's team. And he could be considered the best player on that team, but that is Steph's team. They won championships before Kevin Durant, and Steph has the ability to win championships after if he has the right pieces around him. And as we saw last night, Steph in the biggest moments knows how to step up and shine the way he needs to. So, I mean, I think he's ready to be the man and not be in the shadow of a little guy like Steph Curry.
Yeah, and you look at that team, though. He looked like LeBron James on those Cleveland Cavaliers teams when Kyrie Irving's out and Kevin Love is not living up to his expectations. And so it's just him putting up a bunch of points and nobody else around him. This is a league now where if you're just the only superstar on the floor, you're left on an island all on your own when you're going against a team with Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, and now Pascal Siakam, who's quickly this playoffs has just skyrocketed his value on the court. But Loudbeard, we have David Green, one of our Twitter co-hosts, checking in at Scout Team Radio on Twitter. Those 1 minute guys sound like, and we got a new segment. There's Chris America like performances, and now we have a Mean Green players of the game, and that's what the Mean Green players are. They're the 1 minute guys. Only David Green says I'd pick up 3 fouls in that 1 minute, and I like that.
There we go. I like it. There we go, David Green. Thank you for tweeting in. And to all of our other listeners out there, you can always get interactive with us. Hit us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. We will read your tweets on the air. We will, if you have topics to discuss, if you have just something that you want to say, if one of us screws up and says the wrong thing, like, I don't know, we say something stupid, call us out. Do it on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. We don't mind. It won't hurt our feelings. We can always cry after the show ends.
I always cry after the show ends, no matter what. It just gets so emotional with this show when it's gone. It's like when one of your kids move out of the house for college.
Oh, it's so sad. Way to bring down the show, Chris America. You like to do that. Look, bringing us down. I guess so. So, okay, moving forward. Now the Raptors have a 2-1 series lead in this best of 7. So they have the advantage. Each team has lost one game on their own home court. Now, do you think this series is really going to depend on the health of the players of Golden State? Or do you think the Toronto Raptors have now gotten enough confidence to win on Golden State's floor, to win at home, and to really know how to stop this Golden State Warriors team where they feel that they can win 2 out of the next 5 games? 2 out of the next 4 games. Do you think Toronto feels like they're up for it?
I think so, because they beat a healthy, without KD team game 1, and we mentioned it. Even in game 2, they had a good lead going into halftime, and then they just kind of fell apart with that 18-0 run at the beginning of the half. And then they came back, and it was a manageable game up until Klay got injured. It's just, for whatever reason, they were just having an off night. And so I think they kind of look at game 2 and say, okay, we beat them game 1. We were doing well until that 18-0 run. We can't allow that to happen again, obviously. But we can still hang with them even when they do put in an 18-0 run. Now we got these guys. And I think there is that confidence in there coming into Golden State. And they saw that Klay was out. And like I said, I think they knew they had to take advantage of Klay being out. And now that they have that 2-1 lead, they can come in game 4 and try to really put the pedal to the metal. And if Klay comes back, they're like, hey, we can still hang with these guys with Klay in there. We did it game 1. We did it most of game 2, minus that one big, huge letdown the first 4 or 5 minutes in the third quarter. We got this.
One of the key moments that I think has kind of, to me, shaped what this series is going to become, or what it has already become, is last night. It's fourth quarter. Toronto's basically had a lead the entire game. And at that point, they have maybe 10 and 12-point lead, and 5 minutes left. And it looks like Golden State's not giving up. And Golden State would come down and score, and every time Golden State would either get it down to 7 points or get it down to 9 points or 8 points, Toronto would come back and answer with a huge shot or a big play or a steal, or they would do something to show that the Warriors were not going to be let back into this game. So for that 5 minute, that 4 minute mark, that 3 minute mark, I'm sitting there thinking, this Golden State team, Steph Curry can shoot the ball from anywhere. You got the will of Draymond Green. You've got a lot of key pieces that can do great things. And it didn't matter. Toronto kept their head up. They kept their composure, and they did not once let Golden State back into this game. And to me, that showed that fortitude that, if they would have let Golden State back into this game on Golden State's home court, to me, that would have completely killed your momentum. It would have killed your confidence. And then if you would have been down 2-1 in the series, it would have been over. That last 5 minutes, everything that Toronto did, that showed me that this team has the will to be a champion.
Yeah, I think Toronto needed this game 3 more than Golden State did. If Toronto would have come out and lost to Golden State with Klay out, then I think we have the opposite effect. Like, man, we can't even beat these guys with Steph Curry and a bunch of jabronis. How did we lose to this team? So this was a huge confidence builder. The fact that they blew out Golden State in this game was even bigger for them, because now it's like, look, without without all those other superstars, this is just another NBA team.
It's true. It's not the mighty Thanos anymore. It's like Thanos without the Infinity Stones. He's just another dude at that point.
Yeah.
And he's very beatable. Very beatable. And I think this is good for the Raptors. The Raptors, their fan base is showing up. I mean, every time they show pictures of that Jurassic Park and there's like thousands and thousands of fans just on their feet cheering, you know that these guys are getting the hometown support that they need. And to me, that's a huge part of it, too, is like you need everything working for you. You need the support of your fans. You need all of your teammates to be engaged and to be playing well. You need all of it. And guess what? Toronto's recipe for success, it's all working, man. And I love their coach, too, this guy, Nick Nurse. I love the fact that he was a journeyman, worked his way up as a G League coach, as a, I think, high school basketball coach, and finally gets his shot in the NBA after being an assistant for a long time. He gets his chances to be a head coach, and everybody's talking about how he's like a mad genius with writing up plays and keeping guys motivated and doing all these great things. I mean, that's what the NBA needs. They don't need a bunch of retreads. They need guys like Nick Nurse that come out of the woodwork that you're like, wow, who is this guy? Not knowing that he's been coaching basketball for 30 years. He's just been doing it at different levels. I mean, G League Coach of the Year and all this craziness. That is what Toronto is. They're the, hey, we're not the sexy Steve Kerr coached Golden State, big-time names, all this. They're like kind of the blue-collar, fighting for the good guy, kind of the Captain America of Canada, if you will, for the Toronto Raptors in the NBA. I love it. I absolutely love it.
You also need GMs like whoever the Raptors GM is. It cannot be said enough how big that gamble was, shipping away your future for a gamble on a guy like Kawhi Leonard, and then also getting a guy like Danny Green from the San Antonio Spurs. Because you mentioned how much Danny Green contributed and how he looked like 2014 Danny Green. That was a huge trade, and by all measurements, the Raptors won that trade with the San Antonio Spurs. And was it a gamble? Yes. But it was a gamble worth taking. And whether Kawhi stays or goes, I think the Raptors fans and everybody else can say, all right, it worked. It did what it was supposed to do. We lost to one of the best teams ever. But it was a fun ride while it lasted. And now I think they have a very solid chance to snagging Kawhi, because rumor has it that Kawhi Leonard's buying property in Toronto.
Ooh, I did not know that. Wow,
Yeah.
we're getting some deep
Some inside
information
knowledge.
here.
Yeah. So there's a house that was purchased, I believe, by Kawhi Leonard. That's the rumor, anyways. That Kawhi is buying property, and I don't think anybody buys property in Toronto unless you're from Toronto or you're staying there for work. Like, I don't see him buying a property in Toronto knowing that he's going to LA.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you know me, from the very beginning, I've always said I felt like Kawhi was going to stay. I mean, he's a low-key guy. He doesn't talk a lot about his business. I think he wants to be somewhere where he's appreciated, where he's loved. Toronto has done everything right. They've rested him when he felt like he needed rest. They gave him plenty of time to recover from that injury that San Antonio was trying to push him back from last season. They showed him, like, we care about you as a player. We want you to be the best player you can be. And now they're showing him you can also win championships here. What else do you want out of a team? This is the perfect situation for Kawhi Leonard. Why would you want to leave this? Why? You know what? You don't. You go buy properties is what you do.
You do that. And when you have a GM that made the moves like he did, you respect that move. And you say, yeah, this guy's going to make it work for me for the next 3 or 4 years. And we can win more championships. But, Loudbeard, let's say the Raptors win Game 4. And they go up 3-1. Can the Golden State Warriors shake off the embarrassment of the 3-1 forever if they come back from their own 3-1? I want you to answer that on the other side of the break.
Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter. If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst. Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
All right, welcome back. We want to thank all those listeners out there for everything that you do, supporting us on Twitter, supporting us everywhere, listening into the show live, downloading the podcast, all of that great stuff. If you want to tweet at us, if you want to get interactive on the show, do what David Green did earlier in the show. Tweet at us at Scout Team Radio. We will read your tweets on the air. Also, we are coming live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. Yes, that's right. We are on 12-Ounce Sports Radio, but we also simulcast on the Full Press Radio Network. We're excited to be a part of the Full Press team. And of course, like always, Barn Burner Podcast Network, we're a big part of that. Barn Burner's been a great supporter of ours, helping put our show up on the Barn Burner Podcast Network, and they're based out of Toronto. Ironic, don't you think, that Toronto Raptors right now are up 2-1, and we have a great relationship with the Barn Burner Network in Toronto. Yeah, all of that's amazing. I'm just saying. You can also go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, download the episode. If you're not able to catch us live all the time, you can always go back and listen to us. So all of that stuff is just fine. So Chris America, welcome back. We're ready for the second half of this amazing show on this beautiful Thursday morning. But you had a tease. You had a quick tease before the break, so I think it's time for that thing to pay off. Are you ready? I'm going to take that as a negatory. It's quite the negative. I'm not catching up on Chris America quite yet, but that's okay. I'm gonna jump into something else. I just saw a tweet, and I thought it was a good question. It was just a random tweeter. He said, "Why does Kevin Durant not sit on the bench with the other players?" And I don't have the answer to that. I kind of I was wondering the same thing. Why isn't Kevin Durant out there? I mean, Klay Thompson, he was inactive for this game. He's injured. He's out there on the bench supporting his team. Why is Kevin Durant all hanging out back in the locker room? Does he want the recliner? Does he want the big screen TV? Like, what is it that Kevin Durant wants, and what is it that Kevin Durant needs that forces him not to be on the bench? And that's what I want to know. Chris America, why is Kevin Durant not sit on the bench like Klay Thompson did last night?
Because it's kind of like you mentioned. He's checked out. He's done.
Yeah, he is.
He's
done.
moved on, and I think that shows that he is kind of checked out. And I don't know how I would feel about that if I was, Steph Curry or Klay Thompson or all those other guys. I know it's like business and everybody's got to do their own thing, but at the same time, like, you're still a part of this team. Wait until the series is over, and then you can go and do whatever you want with whatever team, and we'll part ways and we'll say thanks for the good times. good luck in whatever team you choose next, and we can't wait to see you on the basketball court. But yeah, it's kind of a bad look for KD, but KD's full of bad looks. It's really weird because he seems like he's such a good guy, and he's just like terribly flawed with making bad decisions.
Yeah, and he'll be forever known in infamy as the guy with the burner Twitter account.
Yeah.
Always. That's going to hang over him forever. Because now it's like the running joke, like, oh, is that a burner account? Is that one of KD's account? Like, you could say that about anything on Twitter, and it always seems applicable. It's like, okay, the burner account guy. Who wants to be known as that guy? It's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, at not KD. At
That's right.
definitely not KD.
I mean, he could have came up with better Twitter handles than that.
Yeah, for sure. Loudbeard, so I kind of came in late. So did you answer the question? If Golden State goes down 3-1 and they come back and win the series, does that completely erase the embarrassment of their own losing 3-1?
No. I'm going to say no, and there's one reason I'm going to say that. It's because that season when they lost 3-1, that was that season where they beat Chicago Bulls' regular season record. They had that 73-win season. They looked like they were unbeatable, and they went in, and then they got arrogant. They got up 3-1. They got cocky, and I don't think you ever come back from that. That's one of those magical seasons that you can never replace. And coming back down 3-1 against a guy like LeBron James, LeBron winning that championship for Cleveland, that championship they've been begging for, that 50 years of Believeland. Like, you don't erase what happened there. People don't forget it. They will always remember it. So even if they come back 3-1 in this series, it'll be a good thing, but it will not erase that history that's there, because they will always have to live with that.
Yeah, they will. It'll always go down in history, but at least they can say we came back from our own 3-1 on the line, and we did it without KD. Now, Loudbeard, I mentioned some rumor mills. There's another rumor mill that was going around the last couple of days in the NBA, and that was LeBron James reportedly says if they strike out again, if the Lakers strike out again in free agency, he's going to demand a trade. Do you believe these rumors, or do you believe in when LeBron James says he's reportedly happy in Los Angeles, despite all the dysfunction?
I believe the rumors. I absolutely 100% believe the rumors. LeBron James is at that end of his career, and I think it was a little bit of a poor decision. You talk about poor decision-making with KD. We could say the same thing about LeBron James. I mean, him doing a press conference where he's talking about not one, not two, not three championships in Miami, and him doing the decision. Well, guess what? He learned a little bit from those mistakes, went back to Cleveland, helped try to erase those. Now he goes to L.A., and it's like starting all over again. LeBron making poor decisions again, going to a team that was really not equipped to handle bringing LeBron James on, a team with all young guys, all guys that are ready to continue to develop, that are going to be 3 to 4 year projects to get this team to where it needs to be. And you bring in a guy like LeBron James who is in win now mode. It was never a good fit. It was a terrible decision from the very beginning. I don't think any of us were excited about LeBron going to LA. And I think he realizes now, like, no, I need players around me. I don't need guys that are developing young players that will be good in 3 to 4 years when my contract's over and I'm at the end of my career. He's thinking he needs guys that will win tomorrow. And if not, go ahead and trade him. Put him to a contender so that he can get back into the playoffs. LeBron's sitting at home watching these finals thinking, I have been in the finals for how many years in a row, and now I'm sitting at home and I couldn't even make the playoffs with these jabronis in LA. No, this isn't working for me. And he's not going to come out and say it publicly, but I know he's sitting there on his couch at home with his boys saying, guess what? I'm getting back to the finals, man. I'm not doing this again. Well,
I don't care what it takes, whether it's with this Lakers team or somebody else.
Yeah, so rumors are true. Where there's smoke, there's fire, Chris America. Just remember that. That's a classic saying that I came up with.
I agree. I don't think it would absolutely destroy his legacy. I think LeBron's legacy is set. But what it would do is it would add a little asterisk to his legacy, and that would be if he goes to the Lakers and spends 4 years there and never makes the playoffs, or makes it to the first round and gets swept out, to where he was just a non-factor in the NBA whatsoever in his 4 years at the Lakers, and I think the fact that he did it with the Lakers makes it even more amplified, the fact that he couldn't do the playoffs. So like, if he did that when he went back to Cleveland, we'd just be like, oh, it's Cleveland. Like, who cares? It's the Cleveland Cavaliers. But the fact that he did it with the Lakers, where you have so many large shadows of Hall of Famers in L.A., that it's like, man, LeBron went to the Lakers, like Kobe was at the Lakers, like Magic was at the Lakers, like all these other guys are at the Lakers, and he couldn't even make the playoffs, where he just barely did anything. He was a non-factor in the NBA on this Lakers team. I think that would, again, I don't think it would hurt his legacy, but it would just be an added little, like, yeah, but remember those 4 years in L.A.?
You know who that makes me think of?
Who?
Randy Moss. Randy Moss going
Okay.
to the Oakland Raiders. He
Yes.
was great with
Good
Minnesota.
example.
He goes to Oakland and disappears. I forget how many years he was out there. It was at least 2, maybe 3.
It probably felt like eternity for him.
It did. It felt like an eternity. And he's one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. And it didn't matter. He was terrible out in Oakland. And then he came back for the New England Patriots, and then he's
Resurrected his career.
absolutely. That is LeBron James going to L.A. He's got to figure it out. L.A. is either going to put somebody around him, or he's got to go somewhere else. I mean, this can't continue on the way this season was. They got to figure it out.
Yeah. The Lakers need to figure it out. But then again, if they don't and he demands a trade, they kind of have the same leverage that the Pelicans had with AD. Like, LeBron can sit there and claim all the shots he wants, but the Lakers don't have to trade him. They have him for another 3 seasons, actually. So they're going to want a huge deal for him. And I think that could probably be better off for the Lakers than it would be to keep him.
Yeah, if he wants a trade, you trade him, and you get something for him. Somebody's going to give away some young pieces, some draft picks to be good again. Boston Celtics come to mind. LeBron would be amazing in Boston with some pieces around him. Be a great city for him. Now, does he want to go to Boston? I have no idea. Will that trade ever work? I have no idea. The Rockets. Imagine if the Rockets traded all of their pieces around James Harden and brought in LeBron and James Harden together. I mean, there are so many possibilities out there in the world. I would like to see him move on. Now, we are getting a tweet in on our Twitter line, Chris America. I got to read this out. He says,
Yeah, go ahead.
So Scott Kaiser, he says, sign me up for 4 years with no playoffs for King James and the Lake Show. Nothing against him personally, but I hope they never make the playoffs again. I'm like Mark Cuban, happier when they're in disarray at Scout Team Radio. No, I have to 100% agree with you, Scott Kaiser. Yeah, this report came out. There was a press conference or some sort of media engagement where Mark Cuban was talking, and he said, man, he loves the Lakers being a hot mess. He loves this disarray that they're in. He loves all of that. He said he feels bad for Jeannie Buss because she's genuinely a good person, and he wants to see her do well. He said, but he likes seeing other teams struggle. He likes seeing them suffer, and that in the NBA it's a cycle, and when the good teams, the teams that are typically good, are in that downward cycle, he said it's good for the NBA, and he loves seeing the Lakers in that downward cycle right now.
Yeah, so a lot of times they'll say, like, oh, the NFL is better when the Cowboys are good, or the NBA is better when the Lakers are good, and the Major League Baseball is better when the Yankees are good. I say phooey to that, man. I say bull honky. That's right. I'm bringing up phooey and bull honky right now. I'm going to white dad it up really, really fast here on the show. I say bull honky to that because I think the NBA is better when the Lakers are in disarray. I think the NFL is better when the Cowboys are a complete joke. To me, when the teams that everybody hates are bad, it's fun and it's hilarious to watch. And when it's an LA team like USC, like UCLA, like the Lakers, pretty soon it'll be the Rams. But the media loves LA because most of them are out there in LA. They're from LA. Like, they just, for whatever reason, they love to pump LA up, especially Colin Cowherd. And when they sit there and they just like rattle off excuse after excuse and they whine and cry about their favorite LA team being bad, I just love it. It's a lot better than when they're good and those guys are just being like huge egos and huge cockiness coming from them. It's a lot. The NBA is a lot better place when the Lakers are a dumpster fire.
Is it just me, or has Colin Cowherd become more of like that shock jock where he just says
he
things to
is.
piss people off?
Yeah,
Like,
he
I
is.
don't think
Him
he
and-
was always that way, but it seems like it's escalated over the last couple of years where now he says things just to get people pissed off. He's like turned into Skip Bayless.
Scott Kaiser chiming in on the Fooey Bull honky train all the way with Chris America conducting. Screw 'em all, let 'em all suck. Yankees, Lake Show, Cowboys at Scout Team. Yep.
Yeah, that would be a great world that we would live in. That all of those teams would be awful. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work out that way, does it?
So, well, I mean, it kind of has.
Cowboys, they don't really
The
have.
Lakers were bad 2 years ago. Cowboys were bad 2 years ago. The Yankees were bad 2 seasons ago. They were starting to come up with Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I guess so. They don't stay down
USC's
for long
been bad
though.
for a minute.
Oh yeah. Well, USC. I don't know if they're ever coming back, man.
I mean, they will when they find a coach who knows how to pay players under the table.
Yep. All right. So this is something that really is important, Chris America. This is a hot tweet coming in, and it really affects your life. I just want you to know this. Something that slipped through the cracks at the end of the MLB draft. Apparently, the Red Sox drafted Felipe Franks. Future career change?
That is interesting. I didn't even know he played baseball. I mean, I guess if you're a quarterback in college football, you played baseball at some point in your life, and I mean, he's an interesting baseball prospect. I don't know if he pitches. It would be better if he pitched because I think he's like 6'6". He's ridiculously tall for a quarterback, and I don't know what the average height of a baseball player, but I feel like 6'6" is a little too tall for baseball, and he's not athletic enough to be running down balls in the outfield. And I don't know if you need like a 6'6" shortstop. That would be kind of weird looking. So I guess he would be a pitcher. Now that I think of it, it would be hilarious if he was a catcher at 6'6".
Yeah, I don't think that would quite work out very well. Yeah, I don't know what position he plays in baseball, but I don't see him making the NFL. So, you know what? If you get drafted in the majors and you get out there, he could be a minor league player. Him and Tebow could be high-fiving former
That's right.
Gators quarterbacks. They could all be on the same minor league team. It would be awesome.
And that's what happens when you have like 100 rounds of a draft is you can just throw away draft picks on guys like Felipe Franks at the end of the draft.
Yeah, with the Major League Baseball draft, you're like 6 weeks later, like, okay, we're finally to round 100. You're like, is this thing still going on? Like, really? Like, we're still doing this thing? All right.
I said he's very
do that,
unathletic.
baseball.
He's unathletic to be an outfielder, but if he were in the outfield and he was on the wall, I believe he can throw a guy out at home. Because if he can get it accurately there, because that kid does have a strong arm. That's never been his problem. Throwing the ball far has never been a problem with Felipe Franks. It's always been what's going on between the ears and figuring out the offensive plays and what the defense is running and executing it.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's a pitcher. I'm gonna have to go with
Yeah.
that. I'm putting on the stat machine right now just to make sure I get that. Let's see. Here we go. He got drafted day 3 wrap up here. I'm trying to see what position he plays. Sorry, taking me a second. I'm gonna let you
that's
run with
okay.
it. We just got a tweet in. Did that answer our question?
I don't know. Let me see. Did not say what position, but he was the number 500 recruit out of high school. Well, you know, when you get a top 500 guy on your team, you're going places.
It's true.
I didn't make the top 500 out of high school, so it's got to be saying something for Felipe Franks.
It's impressive. Let's see. He is the 6'6" Franks is a strong-armed former high school pitcher with a fastball in the low 90 range, but for now sees his athletic future under center for the Gators.
Yeah, I think you said he's not going to have a career in the NFL. I disagree with that. He improved a lot under Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen's a quarterback whisperer. He's the best quarterback coach in college football. Don't even try me because he's put more people in the NFL than any other college coach you can name me. And I think if he continues to improve at 6'6" with his arm, you know a team, even if he stays the same as to the same season as he had last year, he's that prototypical guy that the NFL wants to have. The 6'6" strong arm, and somebody's going to say maybe like, I don't know, a guy, John Gruden Or maybe your boy Jay Gruden will say, I can groom this kid into being a prototypical NFL quarterback.
Yeah. John Gruden, Jay Gruden, same guy. They could
Don't
all
say
do
that because that doesn't hold much hope for your Redskins there, bud.
I have a question for you. You're bringing up the Gruden brothers, and it made me think of this. So the NFL announced that they're going to play a preseason game in Canada, and they made the Oakland Raiders the home team in Canada. Is that like an ultimate troll against Canada? Like, we're going to make John Gruden your hometown coach and the Raiders your hometown team as they're going to host a game in Winnipeg. Is that a troll, or is that the NFL just randomly picking a team? Because I kind of feel like that's a troll.
Yeah, it's almost a troll like making the Jacksonville Jaguars the home team of England.
It's true. It's true. We're going to give you the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, that's basically what Jacksonville has become. Like I think they've gone to England more than anybody, and their owner wants it to go to England. I don't know if he's going to back off on that now that he's lost that. Was he trying to buy Wembley Stadium, or he was trying to buy a soccer stadium out there, and he lost the bid? Maybe he backs off from that position of always trying to put Jacksonville in England. But, yeah, so Oakland, you get to be Canada's team, and Jacksonville gets to be England's team. I guess what do we make the Jets Mexico's team? And we'll send who's another perennial bad team right now? It's no
Cowboys.
longer Cleveland. Maybe Cincinnati.
Oh.
Maybe Cincinnati can go be Japan's team.
Oh, the Japanese Bungles.
The
That actually
Japanese
makes
Bungles.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can dig that. Here, other goofy football news, since somehow we segued into football. Josh Rosen has been reported as being beat out in minicamps by Ryan Fitzpatrick. This being reported by Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. Is that a bad look for Josh Rosen if Ryan Fitzpatrick beats him out as the starting quarterback for the Dolphins?
Not completely bad because it's not surprising. We know that Ryan Fitzpatrick can be a top 10 quarterback when he wants to be for a short period of time. He's kind of like Mario when he gets the star and he just kind of goes off for like a little bit of time, and then once that star wears off, you're back to being small Mario when you're Ryan Fitzpatrick. So right now, he's just on star power right now.
It's not good. Not good. We only got 3 minutes left, Chris America. I think I have one more question that I want to ask you and get your thought on. This is thought-provoking. But did you see that story where a minor league AA team had a no-hitter, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and the other team decided to place down a bunt to break up that no-hitter? The Hampton Yard Goats of the AA lose the no-hitter bid in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs because the other team placed a bunt to get a single off of them. Is that bad form and bad for baseball as far as unwritten rules go, or do you think you do everything possible as a team to avoid getting a no-hitter against you?
I have mixed emotions about this because, one, I do think it's total disrespect. Like, we're not getting a no-hitter against us. It's almost like when you're losing 35-0 to a team in football and there's like 5 seconds left and you've driven the ball down to the 20 and you decide to kick a field goal rather than just try to have your offense score a touchdown. It's kind of like that, right? It's a little bit of like disrespectful. But at the same time, I'm a competitor. I'm not just going to give you a no-hitter. You have to earn your no-hitter. So don't act like just because you're in this no-hitter zone in the ninth inning that you get to just have it handed to you and I get to hack at the ball. Like, no. If I'm going to bunt the ball, like, it's not like you can't strike me out with me trying to bunt. Throw me some pitches I can't bunt. Make pitches to where I'm going to foul out if I try to bunt. But don't sit there and whine about it because I'm bunting. You still have to stop me, just like with that defense that let the other team get to the 20-yard line. If you didn't want them to kick a field goal at the end of the game to ruin your shutout, you shouldn't have let them go down to the 20. It's just as simple as that.
Now, does this change your mind at all? I was reading the story a little deeper. At first, I thought it was the same pitcher going for a no-hitter. It was actually a closer. So they had 2 different pitchers with that no-hit bid. So it wasn't like it was one pitcher going for a no-hitter. Like, when you pull a pitcher out and he's got a no-hitter, to me, you've already at that point conceded.
Yeah.
To me, I thought, I don't care. I think this is good. Get a bunt. Get a single. Throw them off. Do what you got to do. That's competitive balance. That's no unwritten rule breaking. That's competitive balance. I like it.
And I mean, the other part of the game too is, I don't know what the score of the game was, but baseball is a game where there is no clock. So the game's not over until we get 3 outs. And if the only way I can get a guy on base and get a rally going is to bunt it, then I'm going to bunt. That's part of the game.
It's true, Chris America. You speak only the truth this morning, and I like it. I like you.
Sometimes
you're
I feel like
truth-sayer.
baseball players definitely have to be the softest when it comes to this kind of crap, where they take everything so personal and they're so sensitive to, like, oh, you bunted on, or oh, you flipped your bat. Like, baseball, it's not even the old heads at all the time. It's the baseball players themselves that take on this sensitivity of these unspoken rules, and I don't know, it turns me off sometimes.
Yeah, I'm with you. That we talked about that yesterday with the traditionalist and unwritten rules and just not being a progressive league. Well, guess what? Things are changing. I mean, you already have AA teams named the Yard Goats. Let's just grow up and be a little bit more creative with how we treat the world.
Let's do it. Well, let's go out and treat the world great today on this Thursday, Loudbeard. Let's head on out.
Hey, it's not Thursday.
It's not?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, David Green and Scott Kaiser, for being our Twitter co-hosts today. We appreciate the topics and the tweets. And again, if you want to join in the show, even if we're not live, you're listening to our podcast at Scout Team Radio. We'll see you on